Hey YouTubers, welcome back to Going to the Country. Um, I said that I would talk about safety with the chainsaw. I've been using a chainsaw for over 20 years now, and I bought the safety gear um, right at the very beginning, and it was a really good investment. Of course, you can't see them, but I'm wearing steel-toed boots. Steel-toed boots are a must. Um, Especially if you're in the bush and you know you've got logs that are laying willy-nilly and some of the logs are off the ground, and you're bucking rounds off. You don't want one of those big rounds to fall on your toe without a steel-toed boot. That'll really hurt. The other thing I bought when I started using the chainsaw were the pants. These are called falling pants, and they're made of a Kevlar type material, and they're designed to protect your leg if you nick it with the saw blade. And I don't know if you can see it or not, I've got a couple of nicks. I've got a couple of nicks on these pants. And again, that happened when I was in the bush and I was tired. And I'll tell you, if I wasn't wearing these pants, that would have been a bad day. So spend the money, and of course the obvious piece of gear is this thing right here. I mean, it's brilliant, right? You've got a hard hat, you've got ear protection, and you got your face protection. I mean, it's brilliant for the price. Chainsaws are really loud, so you really want to protect your ears. And of course, you always have sawdust flipping up and flying at you. Sometimes the blade, when you're honking on it, it might catch something and throw it back at you towards your face. So really good investment. These don't cost that much money. So buy the helmet with the ear pads. Another thing I was going to mention is the wedge. Pretty common. Where these come in really handy, especially for a rookie like me, it happened to me a million times, is when I'm bucking rounds off a log. Quite often, my blade, my bar will get bound up because I'm not paying attention in it. And the log, when it gets to a certain point, it buckles and you can't get the bar out. If you got one of these with you and a hatchet, you can bang that in there and separate the log and get your bar back out and you're back at it. And of course a pair of gloves. So that's the gear. It's not that much money, and I highly recommend getting the pants. My neighbor who falls for me, he used to make a living as a faller, and when he comes over, before he touches his chainsaw, he puts on the gear. The steel-toed boots, the pants, and the whole thing with the helmet. So it's a good idea. In terms of safety, falling trees is one of the most dangerous things that you can do. If you're not comfortable with it, I'm not going to give you any lessons on how to fall trees because, I mean, like I said, my neighbor, when I've got a tree, my neighbor comes over and drops it for me. It can be pretty dangerous. I mean, I think pretty much every year guys get killed falling trees. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. Branches, dead branches that are hung up in that tree can fall down and hit you. That's why they call them widow makers. And trees can also, things can go sideways when you're falling a tree. On my property on Gabriel Island, I had a big alder tree. It was a pretty good size. It was about this much around. And it had a real bend in it, right near the bottom. It was quite a big tree, and right near the bottom it had a real bend in it. And I was thinking about falling it because it was going to fall in the driveway. And I thought, I bet that's a dangerous tree. There's something wrong with that tree. So I got a faller in, a professional faller in to do it. And sure enough, as soon as he started his back cut, he cut his notch, he started his back cut, that tree barber chaired on him. And what that is here's the tree and here's his cut. The tree actually split like this. It split, leaving half of it kind of standing and with the tree almost suspended. It's called a barber chair. So the tree actually split, and then I was watching him going, oh my God, this is not good. Fortunately, it was okay. He got out of the way, but it can go bad real fast when you're falling trees. So, I highly recommend using professionals if you're at all not comfortable with the tree or, with the situation. The other thing, pretty obvious, pretty simple, when you're bucking your logs on the ground, 2 hands on the saw, you know, you want to keep 2 hands on the saw because that saw can buck back at you, it can kick. So 2 hands on the saw all the time, and you know, you should be okay. Again, I mentioned before about keeping your chain sharp. That's really important too for safety. So keep that chain sharp, and just a couple of simple concepts. Like I said, I'm not going to do a how-to on sharpening chains or falling trees. I'm sure there's videos out there on YouTube, you know, with the professionals. This is just a heads up and just my opinion on some of the things that I've sort of observed over the years. So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.